Hey, mahal everyone, welcome back again to the Broadway Saiyan YouTube channel. I am your host 40 and we are back with another video on Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia, the global version of Opera Omnia. In today's video, I'm bringing you guys part 5 of my video series for Opera Omnia, Weapon Passives 15 CP versus 35 CP. Again, just some friendly reminders if you're new to this series. This is intended to help newer players and free-to-play players understand which weapon passives can best help a character function in the event that you don't have both weapons in your inventory. It'll also help you understand which weapon passive would be more ideal if you're, like, let's say on a budget build for some of these characters, especially if you're a new player or free-to-play player, because again, not everybody will have all the weapons for every character in their inventory. And this will not cover the World of Illusions event 15 CP weapons. For example, Cloud's 15 CP Crimson Edge or Bart's 15 CP Nor Caliber, because those weapons do not directly impact the character's abilities and they're generally pretty niche or situational for the most part. And it will not cover the EX weapons, as I'm going to be saving that for another series once Global actually gets the EX weapons. And one thing that I do want to mention is that I'm going in order of which characters were released in the order that we got them in Global. So I'm going in that exact order from story characters to event characters. So if there's a character that you really want to know and I haven't covered it yet, don't worry, they will be covered, but I'm doing them in batches of 4. So anyways, for part 5, we're going to be starting off with Bart's. So the way I like to do it is we're going to take a look at their abilities first. So he has Double Hand, which is a one-hit melee brave attack, changes to Double Hand Plus after 3 uses of his mastery system. It has a damage modifier of 110%. Double Hand Plus is, again, a melee brave attack of 1 hit. However, it does have a higher damage modifier of 180%. Missile is a second ability. This is going to be a 2-hit melee brave attack. The first hit deducts 25% of the target's brave, so it has that gravity effect, and then it changes to Missile Plus after 2 uses. The damage modifier on the second hit is at 100%. Missile Plus is going to be another 2-hit melee brave attack. The first hit this time deducts 50% of the target's brave, and the damage modifier remains unchanged for the second hit at 100%. So the 2 passives that he has available to him for his 5-star weapons is his 15 CP Chocobo Blade passive. So this will be increasing Double Hand's damage output, so now it's at 130%, and then Double Hand Plus's damage output is now at 230%. He has 35 CP Mithril Sword passive. It will be increasing missiles damage output for the second hit, so now it's going to be at 120%. He's also going to be inflicting a 25% defense down debuff for 2 turns, and then his Missile Plus is going to have a damage modifier on the second hit for 140%, and it's going to be extending that 25% defense down duration to 3 turns. So what is the verdict? Which one of these weapons can help Bart's function if you have them by itself? So both weapons are honestly equally as good to have. 15 CP is going to give you the better damage output overall, and then the 35 CP grants Bart's that debuff and also that gravity ability. So for me personally, I feel like having either one, if you have either one in your inventory, enables him to be moderately viable. So if you have either one, I feel like he's going to be pretty successful if you decide to use him or decide to build him up if you're on a budget. Next characters we're going to go over is Penelo. So Penelo is a support character with ability 1 being Great Haste. So this grants a medium speed up to the party for 3 turns with a low action delay. Her second ability is Regan Waltz, so this grants the party HP regen based on 10% of HP to the party for 3 turns. Her 15 CP Orichalcum Dirk passive further lowers the action delay of her Great Haste. It's also going to extend the duration of medium speed up to 4 turns, and it's also going to grant a 20% attack up to other party members, so not Penelo, just the other party members for 4 turns. And then her 35 CP Platinum Dagger passive lowers the action delay of her Regan Waltz. Her HP regen potency is increased to now 20% of HP, and it also grants a Brave regen based on 100% of initial Brave to the party for 3 turns. So what's the verdict on Penelo? 15 CP supports a more aggressive playstyle. However, unfortunately, it doesn't give Penelo that 20% attack up. However, her 35 CP provides longevity. It's a close call, but for me, Penelo is slightly more effective if you have the 35 CP, as there are right now better offensive buffers within the global version of the game. So if you're wanting to use Penelo, but you only have one of her weapons, if it's at 35 CP, then definitely she's going to be a little bit more viable with just that weapon by itself. Next character is going to be Terra, one of our fan favorites from Final Fantasy VI. So her abilities focus on chanting first, and then she deals HP damage because her HP attack changes into whatever that chant was based on. So her first one is Meltdown, so the chant raises her brave by 50% of whatever her brave is. It also self-buffs her 30% attack up for 3 turns, and 40% max brave up for 5 turns. It changes her HP attack to Meltdown Plus, and this does have a high turn rate. Meltdown Plus deals HP damage. It also inflicts a 30% defense down debuff for 2 turns, and it has a high turn rate. Meteor Chant version raises her brave again by 50% of whatever her current brave is. It also self-buffs her by 30% attack up for 3 turns and small speed up for 5 turns. It changes her HP attack to Meteor Plus, and it has a high turn rate. So Meteor Plus is going to be a 10-hit non-elemental magic brave plus HP attack that inflicts small speed down debuff for 2 turns. The damage modifier on that is 12% for each hit times 9 for a grand total of 108%. Now her 15 CP Falchion passive raises her brave by 20% prior to her dealing the HP damage with Meltdown Plus. It also inflicts a 30% attack up. It also inflicts a 30% defense down, is what I meant, not attack up. So it grants her 30% attack. The attack up duration is extended to 4 turns, and it also extends the 30% defense down to 4 turns. So I apologize on that little typo there, but hopefully you guys get the gist of what that does. And then 35 CP Enhancer passive, it increases Meteor Plus's damage output. So now it is at 18% for each hit times 9 for a grand total of 162%. It also extends the 30% attack up to 4 turns, and the small speed up extended to 6 turns. So what is going to be the verdict on the weapons passives for Terra that we currently have? So at launch of Global, Terra actually proved to be quite effective with just her 15 CP alone, because that's what she only had available to her. However, even up to now, she can still manage with it, but definitely you want to go more for the 35 CP if you want to build her up and you're lacking some of her weapons because of its brave shaving capabilities, because it does attack brave first before dealing that HP damage. Now, the last character we're going to discuss in part 5 is going to be Yang. So Yang has 2 abilities, the first one being Kick. This is a 1-hit melee brave plus HP attack. It also deals 10% splash damage to targets that he's not targeting. It changes to Kick Plus, but he has to use his second ability Focus first. It has a damage modifier of 20%. His Kick Plus requires, again, the usage of his second ability Focus. It's going to be another 1-hit melee brave plus HP attack. Before he performs the brave plus HP, he does increase his own brave by a 1.3 multiplier. He deals 10% HP splash damage, so that remains unchanged, but this time the damage modifier is at 100%. So his Focus is his second ability. This self-buffs him 30% attack up and 35% max brave up for 3 turns, and then it changes Kick to Kick Plus. So his 15 CP Dragon Claw passive increases Kick's damage output. So now Kick's damage output is at 30%. It increases the splash HP damage now to 20% to the targets he's not targeting. It also increases Kick Plus's damage output, so now that damage modifier is at a whopping 150%. It also increases Brave Gain multiplier of Kick Plus to 1.5 rather than 1.3. His 35 CP Cat Claw passive, which we don't have yet, but we will be seeing it soon in Global, increases Focus's usage by +1, and it also lowers the action delay of the Focus ability. It raises his Brave based on 100% of his attack stat now when he uses it. It also increases the self buff's potency, so now his attack up gives him 60%, and then his max Brave is at 100% up, so that's pretty good. And then the duration is extended to 5 turns on those buffs. It changes his Brave attack to Kick now for 5 turns, so Kick is going to be a 2-hit melee AoE Brave attack with a damage modifier of 60% on each hit times 2 for a grand total of 120%. So the verdict on Yang is, hands down, even though we don't have it yet, but we're going to be seeing it soon, his 35 CP is the go-to if you're looking at which passive you'd want first. Kick on its own, even if you don't have the 15 CP, can manage with its natural damage, provided that you do have these 35 CP on its own when it comes out for Yang, because the 35 CP does have the buffs to his max Brave and also his attack, so it's going to help out his damage output, so then that way, even if you don't have the 15 CP, he could still manage quite well on its own with it. Alright guys, well that is going to be it for part 5 of my weapon passives, 15 CP versus 35 CP. Hopefully you guys found this video useful. Once again, I am 40 the Broadway saying, stay tuned for the next video, and to mahal everyone.